Hey guys, I'm gonna start painting. I don't know what yet. I'm trying to get a position here. The dog is sleeping under this chair, so she might wake up at some point and have some opinions. So if I need to pause or stop the stream so that the dog can be properly addressed, if she has any urgent needs, then I will do that. Hey guys, this time I'm gonna try my best to read if there are any questions in the chat, because I have gone through all the possible help desk items and contacted support, and apparently there is an issue in YouTube that sometimes the chat disappears after the video has been published online. So my settings are for the chat to stay in the replay of the live stream, but even though those settings are in YouTube set the right way, they will still sometimes disappear, and this is an issue that is affecting all YouTubers, not just me. So it's out of my hands at this point. I can only hope that they have fixed it. Seems like a pretty big problem if you ask me. But then again, sometimes YouTube has these like pretty huge deals. Like for example, you probably have noticed that sometimes in my playlists there are duplicates of the same videos twice, and this is not something that I have accidentally done. YouTube accidentally duplicates those. It's a bug. It's a known issue and it affects everybody. Roxy Smile says, was already painting, so now we can paint together. Yes. If only I knew what I was doing though. I hope, Foxy Roxy, that you have already an idea of what you're doing. I'm gonna reduce this canvas size. This is a bit too much for me at this stage, and I just want all the brushes to be really huge. You have to remind me in the chat if I don't expand it later, but like this, because the maximum size of this brush is quite small. But there's a reason for that. It's better for line work. Right now I'm just gonna try and search for some colors that I like, and then maybe some shapes. I know that in the beginning phase I always have a really small zoomed out view, but I hope that people understand or see this, like the guys who are always asking me what size my iPad is, because if you see this then you will understand that it doesn't really matter what size iPad I use. I still zoom out so much that there's tons and tons of empty space. I always try to reply to those comments that like you should get the type of iPad that you feel comfortable carrying with you everywhere, and that varies. I always carry with me tons and tons of stuff. If you have seen this live plein air painting video there, you notice that that's just a consequence of me always having too much stuff with me. Bananen Knight asking what brush am I using, and this is paw print. Jessica Sims is asking, is it night where you are? Yes. That's why I chose the time, because Vivi is sleeping, or at least I hope she's under this chair. So I'm trying to stay very still so that she doesn't wake up. Actually, now I just said her name. Oh. She lifted her head, looking at me like, is there some action that is meant for me happening there? She's super cute when she sleeps because she has these small stumpy legs, and when she's sleeping she's just like in completely vertical mode on the floor, like one big forest sausage dog. If you want to see what Vivi looks like and you haven't seen her yet, you should like look at the picture on my Twitter feed. Hi, I'm from Brazil. I really like your painting. I'm studying portraits. I can't wait to go into painting studies with color. That was Aurora. Portraits are interesting. I like, for some reason, whenever I'm using oils, a lot of my oil paintings are portraits. Maybe it's just because like oil painting already takes so much time, and doing a portrait doesn't seem like that much extra work. But portraits are fun. I'm just now in a phase in my life where I just don't feel like doing them. But that will probably change, I don't know. These days I just like go by feel. And I know that I should probably already start thinking about what this painting is. Hey, Ratex Art is asking, hey, can you do live where you are providing color palette and then we will draw with you when you do live? I think this is a really good idea. Let's do that sometime. This time I don't have a palette. I am just like using this as a base, but I want to use more brighter colors and that provides. But that is a great idea, and it seems completely doable, so we should definitely do it sometime. But I would probably also like need to notify you before when that happens. This whole week has just been like completely crazy because of the dog. I felt kind of bad earlier this morning because I noticed that I have been posting all these dog pictures on my social media feeds, and while I do love Vivi very, very much, I don't want to kind of like give the impression that like getting a dog is just like fun and cotton candy. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work, and if I didn't have this time I wouldn't be able to take care of her the way that she deserves. But I haven't had much sleep, and that is also the reason why this is happening right now, this stream, and I couldn't like announce it beforehand because I don't know when she's in like full tornado mode and destroying and eating all of the furniture. In those moments, like, I definitely wouldn't be able to do this. We don't have any cords attached to walls in the apartment because that might be dangerous for her, except in this room where she is right now. because I need my equipment for working. I think there's some like vague idea in my head. I just can't quite grasp it. I'm usually like just squinting my eyes when I'm in this phase, just so that I don't see the individual details, but I see the big blobs color. I hope everyone has had a great week. Mine was just mostly dog, and today I've been working on a commission that I should have already finished yesterday, so it has taken all of my day when I was awake. But I get this live stream as my carrot to keep motivated working, because I wanted to paint for myself a little bit too. I won't be able to show it in my gallery, that commission, because I'm also selling the rights to that painting. Alyssa is saying it looks like a koala to me. That's an interesting idea. I like these tree-like shapes. I don't know if this is underwater or if this is a tree. Maybe a tree. A part of me just wants to mess around and not decide on anything too specific yet. I've been rushing all day, trying to get everything done, and then I had a meeting with this business coach lady. It was motivating and gave me a lot of good ideas to think about. Also, it was good to go over the financial stuff of what my ideas have been. She had a lot of experience to tell me if my plans are realistic or not, and I appreciate that. I'm like really trying to see it now. It's so hard to concentrate on the chat at the same time. How are you able to visualize your ideas? Did you build up a visual library by doing landscape studies? Yes, I've done all kinds of studies, animals and people and houses, pretty much everything. But I think it's still important to always like question what you have in front of you. Every painting requires its own approach, sometimes even its own style. Those challenges are interesting to me. I like how people are trying to guess. When I say that I don't have any idea, I mean it. I was thinking that like, should I plan something to make this like an effective stream and so on, and then I thought that like, no, I don't need to put myself under such pressure. Makes no sense. I think sometimes I take these streams a bit too seriously in my head. I shouldn't. It prevents me from enjoying the painting. take out the opacity of this drawing guide. I often think that even when it's at very low opacity, you can still see it super well, because usually none of my other paint strokes are so clean as these lines, so I can see them quite easily. Somebody's asking me, how do you transfer your iPad screen to PC? So we are now all in a Zoom meeting. I am in a Zoom meeting with myself, and I am sharing the screen to myself, and that's how I have screen on PC screen. Then I just have that screen selected in OBS Studio. And OBS Studio is connected to YouTube via stream key. And that's how we are all here today. Is this the issue AB? I love this track. I think it was in the background of the underwater room that I painted. It's one of those videos where I'm editing the video and I'm like, oh my god, it's such a crime that I'm talking over this beautiful track. I'm just gonna be quiet now. I'm gonna read a few comments while listening to this. Somebody's saying that I'm struggling with color. Like, do you have any tips? I can reveal a secret about how my concept art classes work with my students. I know that this is very standard in the Mark's work. Here again. Thanks for joining. Sorry for not warning about this stream. So I know that it's a very standard practice in digital art that people do a grayscale painting and then they color it. But in my concept art class, that is not something that I allow my students to do, because I don't want them to come to me years later and say that I couldn't figure out colors and I'm trying to practice it. It's just I think when you want to learn colors, you should start right away. Colors have value. You can learn values within the colors at the same time as you're learning colors, so don't separate those two things. That way you can practice two things at the same time, and that will speed up the whole thing, and then at the end you will have at least learned how to use colors it's not great that if you learn to use values but you don't know how to attach colors to them. It's really hard to get out of that mode. So I think this is a good thing that you can do to yourself, especially if you're new to painting, is just start using colors right away. And the same goes for imagination, that sometimes people ask me on my videos that how I get my ideas or how do you develop an imagination, and I think that's also something that you should start learning right away. When you start painting, don't wait for some magical moment when you are good enough to start doing your own ideas. You're already good enough to do your own ideas, even if your skill levels aren't where you want them to be someday. But I think it's kind of arrogant that some people think that the ideas will come when they are ready enough to paint them, because imagination is a skill like anything else, and if you don't practice it, you don't get good at it. I know that everybody probably intuitively thinks that they have like great ideas and they have a great imagination, but those ideas are probably not for pictures, they are just ideas. But when you have an idea and you're able to insert it into 2D canvas, that's a skill. So it's not just about like having ideas, it's about having ideas that you can convey in visual format. So that's why I would say that I rather do process videos on my channel rather than like here you can replicate this painting. I don't think replicating a painting that I have already done is as beneficial as like using those problem-solving skills that you learn in the video and implement those into your own idea. I think that way you can like learn at an increased speed. It's harder, of course, but like if you just like do the same steps that I do, then you're not faced with the visual problem-solving parts. You're just watching me encounter visual problem solving and then solve it myself. So it will probably be like better marketing for me not to say this out loud, because it is great marketing when somebody else does my painting and posts it online and refers to me. Of course that's great marketing to me, but like my bigger goal here is to like help people overcome these sort of problems. Then I think in that sense, I think it's more important just be brave and do your own paintings. Mikko, what is your feeling about the color wheel? Ever use Adobe's color palette tool? Well, I think this is nice. I just think that you kind of need a bit more finer selection, because like just moving the color this much, that's a huge movement in color space. So I often try to like scale this up when I use it. You can do that by pinching. But in this like more Photoshop style color palette, there's just more space to do those selections. I used to like the color wheel more when I was using mostly Corel Painter. I don't know if anybody here is that old that you remember what it was like, but I like the way that Painter had the color wheel. I think it was big enough and it was faster to use than Photoshop's color palette. And Photoshop didn't have the ring thing back then. Would you recommend Imprint as a service? You said you didn't like the one you used before. I think yes. One of my subscribers suggested this service to me, and I have to say that so far it has been nice. The only scary part was the part where you have to actually apply for it, and the Imprint artists, they vote if your art is good enough for the service. So I don't know how I feel about that. Also, that process took quite a long time. I think it was over a week before I got accepted. Hello from me and my toddler again. This time she's asleep, but I think she will forgive me for watching without her. I don't know where my toddler is. She's sleeping. She looks so innocent when she's sleeping. It's like super easy to forgive her all of the things that she has destroyed when she's awake, when she sleeps. And she looks like an angel. She's the best dog in the world. My phone is already completely full of dog pictures in like a week. The previous night I woke up and we went for a walk in the morning, and then when we came back I put all the lights on, and because I had already all of my clothes on, I started making coffee and went to the couch to see if there are some like morning news that I could watch while waking up properly. And after a while it became clear that there are no news on the TV, and then I watched that what the time is, and it was 3 p.m. in the middle of the night, so I went back to sleep. I'm so tired that sometimes I do these completely silly mistakes. Like, for example, I went outside to the store and then my shirt was on backwards. It's that level of tired. Hey, Display P3 is exclusive to iPad color space. So I wouldn't make print work in that color space. I'm gonna make a new layer and then tweak the colors so that it has more light. A tweak towards warm tones. And then I'm gonna use this with the mask. It's a bit too green. I usually like green skies, but I have my limits. Yeah, that's better. I've noticed that I watch all of these live streams myself after they are done. Sometimes they are just torture to watch through for myself. But whenever I'm not sure about what the hell I'm doing, I notice that I have a bad habit of whispering. Candy Girl Sunshine is saying, thank you for taking the time to share your art and teaching with us. Thank you for being here and seeing what it is that this is. I'm kind of intrigued myself. See what this turns into. Or some like architectural shapes on a hill. It's very loose. Kind of like loose now. Maybe it's because I've been like trying to get this commission piece done, and there has already been so many iterations that to enjoy the fun of painting for myself. I think it's always important to have your own projects in between work so that you just keep your connection with art. somebody was saying the technical stuff is confusing. It is confusing, but unless you're like making print stuff, you really don't need to worry about it that much. And even if you are making print stuff, you can do color adjustments later for a piece when it's done. You don't have to always like take into consideration what the print is going to be from the beginning. I like the overlap of some of these brush strokes. Maybe I should take off this guide so I can see what I'm doing with the colors. Sometimes a picture idea just comes faster than at other times. I think for me the trick is not to just not to panic when it doesn't come quickly. Because it's not really in my control in any way. If an idea doesn't want to come, I'm just gonna make a painting anyway. Mikko, would you ever recommend studying architecture as a precursor to painting? That's an interesting question. I happen to know quite a few architect students. I love architecture, but I would never want to go and study architecture because all of their stories about school just seem like not something that I would be interested in at all. I know that a lot of architects don't really need to worry about the feasibility of the buildings. It's more the engineers that can make that stuff work. But still, there's tons and tons of technical stuff that isn't just something that interests me. I guess that depends on What do you want to do with your life? Do you want to be an architect? In that case, disregard everything that I just said. Margaret Hall says, I'm an architect and it depends on the school you go to. My classes never revolves around corporate design. Lots of interesting and creative graphics work in my experience. I learned Photoshop too. Like I have said previously in these streams, I used to just love SketchUp, and SketchUp is mostly made for architects. I think you can learn that without going deeper with it, but sadly SketchUp is kind of not great these days after Google sold it to Trimble. Just do a sky cutout using this. So I'm just selecting bits of sky. Instead of having the sky in the background, I'm going to make this new piece. I'm gonna bring on top of everything, and this is now the sky. There's all of these other layers like this are just basically a mess in my mind that are not organized in any way. I can just crunch them together and then create the sky as the foreground. And I can reverse this order too by making, first of all, a duplicate out of this, then a selection of the sky, and then making a mask. Okay, and then inverting the mask. And now I don't need to have this here. I can bring it all. I will just implement the mask there, and then have a layer that is filled with just this color. Okay, and now I have reversed the order of the sky, so sky is in the background, and on top I have this, which I can now use with clipping masks to create some silhouettes in the distance. Okay. I think I can salvage this. I'm just not going to be worried about time this time. I've noticed that it's the one thing that causes me most stress. So let's just see what happens without it. As the dog is sleeping. And I can finally paint. Hey Mikko, did you do something to your hair? I hope not. What are you working on tonight? We're all trying to figure that out. Is somebody still using Rhino? I didn't know that that thing exists still. I'm amazed that like a 3D program can exist without being bought by Autodesk or be killed by the market at this point. But I just recently saw this, actually today, so this video about the latest update to Blender, and they have added this extrusion mode that is extremely similar to SketchUp, the way that you don't have to make a cut before you do an extrusion when you do, for example, an L shape and then you extrude from there. Those of you who have used 3D can probably explain that better. But it just makes block design so much faster, and I want to do a 3D block in and a paint over on one of these live streams or in my videos soon, because that's a technique that I have used a lot, especially with video game projects. And sometimes when you're working on a game, you will just you can go and ask a level designer to get a block, 3D block version of the level and just paint over that. That way you will get less conflicts with what the art and level design departments want. Also, it's kind of fun when part of the hard stuff like light direction and perspective are already taken care of, and then you can just be creative. And some people hate it when level designers give these like completely abstract sets of cubes and triangles that is the level, now try to make it into a train station. But I always thought that that was a fun creative challenge. Haven't really had time to play any video games this week. I have Switch on this desk here. Mikko, what is your philosophy on facial hair? This is the best question so far. I will shave when I'm being told to shave. I just don't care that much. Also, when it comes to aesthetics, I don't really have a strong opinion of that too. I think some guys look really good with a beard, and some look better when it's shaved. I think when you're comfortable, that shows more than any of these other things. So, confident people are good looking. But if they're like overly concerned about how they look, nobody wants to deal with that. But one type of beard I do strongly disagree with. It's this sort of like no attention to at all has happened, like this sort of like Santa Claus beard. That is like the extreme version of hipster these days, and that to me is like no. If it starts looking like you have like a small dog hanging under your chin, don't do it. That's my philosophy. I always find it weird when somebody's calling me bro. Greetings from Peru. Nikko portraits, I do not see many from your work. You haven't seen my older work. Maybe there is more you can talk about concerning subject matter. About portraits? Well, about beard. Yeah. There's a beard in that picture that is my Instagram avatar has been for years. It's not my beard. The other guy in that picture has a beard. And I've seen that guy with and without the beard. I think it's fine either way. I don't really care that much. It's weird that I'm not feeling more sleepy at this point. Probably been up like 13, 20 hours. But I just want to say that I don't hate the client work that I'm doing, because today, when I have been working on it for so long, now I can see how all the pieces are coming together, and it's reaching that point when it's like over the hill of difficulties and it's looking nice, and now I believe in it. So it's fun to paint, and I left like some of the most fun parts for me to paint tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. I just hope that the client won't be too mad that I'm 2 days late with it. But I tried to make it in time, it's just the dog, it just wasn't possible. Well, that was like 8 happy little accidents with those 2 brush strokes that broke apart. I'm just gonna go with it. Let's Bob Ross it. Okay, the resolution. Dear Lord, I should have probably done this sooner. Maybe 6,000? I think that's enough. Okay, the name that has too many M's and N's to pronounce in one go says, so I have a mini 5 after a small pinch of this channel. I got a pencil and was wondering if I could pull paintings like this off on an iPad mini, or if it's for the investment of an iPad Pro. Doesn't matter, either way, it's the same thing, like just get one that you will use more. Don't think that iPad Pro is somehow like much better. It's the same thing. You can pull off paintings like this on your phone. It's just, do you have patience to carry around iPad this size with you? Oh my god. Bibi, Jesus. Nyt. Finish language break. Just a second. Miten jos me nostettais sut ton sun oman koirasänkyyn? Tuntuu, että siinä olisi hyvä olla. Sä oot siinä nyt ihan pinossa. Kameraa. Sorry, but she was about to pull all the lamps from the table. So many things to read. I know it's really annoying to watch me read, but I'm trying to keep up. Yeah, this dog probably doesn't speak any language. I just feel more comfortable speaking in Finnish to Bibi. You have no idea how often people ask me where I'm from. in the comment section, and I don't know. I already have this for the other question that people keep asking. Do I need to have like a big Finnish flag in the background as well? I sometimes try to adjust the colors in the beginning where there is this intro splash screen. I try to sometimes adjust those colors to be like Finnish flag colors, but apparently absolutely nobody has noticed, so that's a lot of tweaking for no additional value. But I like including small details like those. That's the only part that makes like all the time that I spend editing the videos like fun for me, when I can like tweak small things like those or learn new editing tricks. Like for example, the color grading in every one of my videos is done for every single clip by hand, because I know that a lot of channels use for branding these sort of like presets, and that's something that probably I could do too if I had like a set way of filming in certain situation with same lights and so on. But I just love the color grading part of editing so much that I don't want to automate things that I actually enjoy. I'm gonna now do this to understand what is happening with the composition. Demel Trixie is saying hi from Germany. A lot of people think that I'm from Germany, which I think is crazy because the accent is completely different. Mama Dilo said, I got my iPad today. That's exciting. I remember when I got my first iPad 3 years ago. Yes, I think I have used it. I've definitely used it every week since then. Probably not every day. Almost every day. It's really hard to find like good information about streaming, painting on the internet, on YouTube or anywhere. I've been thinking that like maybe I should like go to Twitch and see what people do on these hobby channels, like how do they make this work. people are arguing about what is harder or like what is more beneficial, digital or traditional. I used to have a strong opinion of this, and obviously since I come from a traditional art background, like it would be easy to say that just do that. But if you're not going to do those like 1000 oil paintings, what's the point of saying that? That is not good advice. Whatever makes you do the biggest volume of work, that is how you should study. Like if that is like ink pen and paper or pencil and paper or your phone or body painting or digital art or pixel art, whatever makes you make the most amount of art, like just in sheer volume, that is the best way to learn. And also what makes you finish the most, because that is kind of a negative with digital art, is that people can have so little attachment to the painting when it doesn't cost them anything to make it except time, that it can be kind of easier to quit it when you kind of have to make a bigger decision if you want to like trash your work that you have committed time and a lot of money into, because oil paints are so expensive that you have to kind of think about every single phase a lot. So whatever makes you finish the most pieces of art, that is the medium that you should go with. And that answer is unique to everybody, so there's no point in like trying to advise anybody specifically on this. Just you know what you like to do more, do that. But those have to be finished paintings, and by finished I mean published. If the painting isn't published, it's not finished. In my own humble opinion. I know that this is not the definition of art, but when you're learning art, I do think that that makes a huge difference. If it's too scary to publish your art, like you can even have like a artist name and an account there. You don't have to tell anybody that you are that person. Personally, I have tons and tons of sketchbooks here in this cupboard behind me, but I was cleaning the room. I mean, I know that it's a complete mess, but I was cleaning here a few months ago, and then I came into this conclusion that like these are just stressful to look at. Like these sketchbooks are too beautiful for me to want to draw on. They give me way too much pressure with the fancy covers that they have. I like buying sketchbooks, but like damn, I really don't like drawing on sketchbooks. And when I realized that, I noticed that I can just stop feeling guilty about this. I don't have to like the sketchbooks or sketching. It's not my thing. That's fine. The thing I like about traditional media and oil painting is that when people in the traditional media art community see an art piece, you don't have to explain to them if it's a portrait or a landscape or if it's an abstract painting. It's a painting and that's fine, everything is fine. But when you do digital art, you kind of like have to like do this whole speech about what kind of art you make and what genre of art it is, and that just seems strange. And I think it's completely unnecessary. I hope that this will change soon. One thing that I really love about Procreate's Instagram feed is that like they really do have all kinds of art there, which I think is really rare for such a like a popular art account. Oh, this is way too Christmassy for my taste. Let's switch the track. It's getting closer to midnight. No lyrics, please. Also, I used this track once for a traditional painting. That video is still visible on my Instagram in videos. It's a Sumi ink drawing / painting. And it's a portrait, for those who were saying about that earlier. Thing that Max is saying is absolutely right. Digital and traditional media are in no way mutually exclusive concepts. That line can be blurred both ways. Somebody was saying about block printing earlier, and I have done block printing so that I had a Google SketchUp model that I used as a base for the block print that I carved on wood. And even then the tools were kind of like unorthodox. I have this sanding driller that I bought from a hardware store, and the art teacher was like absolutely horrified, but it was so precise and so fast, and my hands weren't bleeding like everybody else's in the class. If you can't tell, I'm really proud of this complete art heresy that I was able to pull off. take the curves so that only the lightest highlights stay, and I'm going to make a light effect on those bigger walls out of this. I'm gonna add a mask to this. The thing with masks is that apparently you can turn off the drawing assist by clicking the mask. It just inherits the property of the layer that it is a mask off, which is a bit confusing to me. Tamara Al-Sadi is saying, I'm starting to draw landscape paintings and I've never done anything like this. Any tips? Make landscapes that mean something. Don't ever draw just a tree. Try to always say something with the painting. And like have that attitude to every single painting. I think that is really important. Just got an idea that I want to do this like exaggerated fringe color to this bottom area, like this hue. So I made a lighter layer, and that way I can just paint over the darkest parts here. I think at least one of these foreground trees should be more defined. Hey Mikko, what would you advise to someone just getting started with drawing and painting? Used to paint years ago, before high school. It's been 10 years. I've never managed to draw realistic stuff. Do you need to draw realistic stuff? If you need to draw realistic stuff, then I would suggest that you start extremely small, like for example put a pencil on a white paper and then draw that as accurately as you can. And is that the goal? Like, to me that seems super boring, but like if that is the goal, then that is what you should do. Another great example is like do white objects on white backgrounds to learn to see color. Jessica Sims is asking, how do we say something through landscape paintings when we're doing studies? I'm struggling to create moods or stories without characters in them. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, that imagination is also a skill, and that's why you should start it right away. I mean, even studies you can make to have a meaning, and I would recommend that over just doing studies. We've probably all seen these people who have like super great rendering skills that can do absolutely photorealistic stuff but then have no imagination. It's those people who have just focused on the rendering part, which is important, but if you then start to practice doing like more things from your imagination, you are starting from zero and you have the same road ahead of you as when you started studying rendering. So I think it depends on what your goal is, but if your goal is to do something from your imagination, you should also practice the message even when doing studies. And I do think that doing something from your imagination always includes a reference for everything, especially when you're studying. You should always have a reference. You are probably all carrying around phones that have cameras in them. There is like no excuse not to have good reference for studies. What does the drawing assist do? It locks into the perspective grid that I have set earlier. So on this layer, the drawing assist is on, so I don't have to try, and I will automatically make lines to only these 3 vanishing points. Are your process available for download? There's a description to my Gumroad shop in the description of this video. Or should be, at least. There was somebody who was emailing that like they want to have my process for free because they are having trouble with the payment system. for some reason. I didn't reply anything, but like if I had replied something, I would have just said that you don't need my process, because he was emphasizing in the email that I need your process. You don't need my process at all. You can paint just fine with the default ones. Before releasing my brush set, I said several times to many of the comments that if there were these sort of like types of questions about process, I would answer them that please don't try my brush set when I make it available. It won't help you paint better. If it's a question that is about somebody who is like obsessed with process. As many of you probably already know, I only use one brush for most of my paintings. And the set that I have, I just choose, for these live streams, I usually just choose one brush at random and I stick to it for the entire painting. You sometimes see me doing this, but that is just because, for example, if I have a selection and I want to get out of the selection mode, then my default go-to mode is usually to just like hit the brush button, because that will exit it and then I can keep painting right away. I don't do this to change process. Alexandra Joel is asking, Mikko, it's midnight over there, how are you? Surprisingly not tired. I feel like every time I hear this, one of these bell sounds, that Eckhart Tolle is about to say something profound at any second. I don't understand how people do anything at this time. I'll be honest, lovely to see you painting in the dead of the dark. Yeah, we'll get used to this, because winter is coming, and in case you didn't know this already, here in Finland, winters are extremely dark. There are days when sun doesn't rise at all. And during summer, it's the opposite. There are days when sun is up all day, and during the night it only just like touches the horizon, and you can walk outside just fine in the forest without lights and see perfectly fine in the sunlight. Mikko, from where do you usually get clients for commissions? Instagram, always. I think it was funny how in my previous video somebody commented that always own your own platform, and just don't agree with that at all, considering how much money I have made out of Instagram clients. If you have a website, that's great, but don't think that for your portfolio that you need to have a website unless you're applying for a web designer position. If somebody, for example, is hiring a concept artist, they don't care about your web design skills at all. Honestly, I have reviewed these sort of applications myself and I didn't care, at least. So if that's something that you put a lot of effort into, do you expect anybody to like visit your website? I mean, this isn't the 90s anymore. Would you ever consider living somewhere else, or just during winter? Well, my favorite countries that I have lived besides Finland I wouldn't mind living in Portugal again. Germany was nice. I think it might be interesting to visit Berlin. And maybe stay there for a while. I think I know Swedish well enough that I would manage in Sweden, and it's quite beautiful during summer. Stockholm, I mean. If I could afford it, I would also probably enjoy living in Norway. And I wish I could visit my friend in Spain. But this situation is what it is, and you probably know what happened with my job, so I need to focus on my business to make it possible to visit him later. Felix, one of my friends, just moved into Berlin. He was here to study from Hong Kong. Now he moved to Berlin, live with his boyfriend. The layers that I'm making, they are just like safety nets. For me to try different things. Actually, I think this tree in the foreground could be this big, not just a branch like I thought earlier. There was a bad line. Trying to fix it. Okay. Done. I've been to Berlin once and it felt really anti-cozy to me. Well, it's Germany. I've lived in Germany, I wouldn't call it cozy. You should let your kid decide your colors, Mercedes. Give him creative freedom. Mercedes is saying she makes her own paintings on Procreate where she gets full control over colors. Is very serious about her paintings. That's what I love about kids. Not just when it comes to painting, but in general how confident they are. When you ask a child what you're going to be when you grow up, they will answer something like, I'm going to be an astronaut, or I'm going to be a firefighter, or a doctor. But when you ask somebody 20-year-old that what do they want to do for a living, and they will answer, I would like to be a doctor, I would like to become a fireman. But kids are sure. They can announce that this is what I will do, and it's clear as day that this is what will happen. They have all the confidence in the world. And I think that's the way that adults have to relearn how to paint like that once they start doing art. Also, when you're a child, you have the imagination, but when you grow up, I think a lot of people let that imagination die. That's also why it's a skill, and you can get it back, but it's work and it doesn't happen on its own. Just because you had it as a child doesn't mean that it's easy as an adult, and it requires so much more courage to be creative and show other people what is happening inside your head. Because if you're like me, sometimes art can be like extremely naive, and I think I'm revealing a lot of things about myself, about how hopeful I am about certain things, or how I view friendships, or what I think about loneliness, and that can be very exposing when other people see your work in a way that a child doesn't need to even think about those things. But when you're an adult, that's when art gets scary, and I think it helps when you can acknowledge that you're being brave when you do it anyway, despite how scary all of this is. And I think some of my craziest pieces, like stylistically, are the ones where I really felt like I'm a badass for posting that online. Especially considering if it's following something that has had some sort of success and then do something crazy. Those are the moments that I'm truly proud of. Not the art itself. I mean, I like my art. I mean, I love my art, but I'm very proud of the moments when I'm brave. And I didn't always have that. I have kind of grown into that over time. But maybe that's also the benefit of just getting older too. Old people don't care that much about what people think of them, because they already know that people don't think of them at all. Trevor Rhodes I don't know how to pronounce your last name, is saying, just want to say your videos have gotten me back into art. I used to draw for years, but recently started doing digital art because of your paintings. Oh, these are the type of comments why this channel exists. And this is exactly what I was talking about with the business coach, that we were talking about money, and then I just said that, like, I know that these money figures are important for me to be able to like continue and to have this channel going forward, especially considering how expensive it is to make videos. But like, these are the reasons why I think all the work is worth it, and this risk that I'm taking with this channel of like trying to make this work, I think these type of interactions are why I'm willing to take that risk. I'm not wearing a hat. I know that my hair is not great today, but damn it, whatever. I'm sorry for everybody who is like watching my videos mostly for all the amazing hair tutorials. Have you thought about streaming on Twitch? Yes. But so many say that you shouldn't stream on both platforms at the same time. I don't know if I have time to do 2 streams. Because, for example, let's say that I just read that comment of yours, and then somebody's watching this on Twitch. Would they feel excluded? Because the question is coming from a different on a different platform. This painting needs windows, and I don't want to paint 1,000 windows the same way, so I'm just gonna make one. One half arc. Okay, now that I have one window, I'm going to squeeze it down a little bit, and then I'm just gonna flip it to make sure that it's symmetrical. That's the word. Then squeezing it down a little bit. Now I need to think. Okay, I'm just gonna make a few copies. No! I just remembered that I have this insane layer limit happening here. Make everything the hard way. You can get even spacing by just duplicating two things once, and then you can just match a duplicate of that with the previous one. This is easier if you have magnetics on. Just keep the blue line visible. For this, I'm going to need to see the lines, and then I'm gonna put the magnetics off and freeform so I can align these corners to corners in the grid, like here, and it just has to align with the same line. And when I scale this, if I have aligned it correctly, it doesn't matter that I'm making it too big right now, the scaling will happen automatically to this wall. There we have windows. I'm gonna make another one, but this time I'm gonna make it vertical. Then just two windows, but further apart because they are different floors. And keeping the blue line inside. I'm gonna use this for later, so I'm gonna just keep it as a hidden layer for now. And then do the same thing for this. Just find a corner like here. Just these. Magnetics can be a pain if you accidentally leave it on, because it will work against these sort of like finer adjustments. I'm gonna use only two of these windows, but I made the grid for the next phase. So don't worry about the extra set for now. And just erase these ones. And then use these for the wall in the back. I usually don't like having 4 of anything. It's a composition checklist thing. Then magnetics off. And this is for the upper wall here. I don't think anybody needs to be too fussy with these sort of alignments, as long as it looks close enough. Just as a hint of a light shining through another window here, adding up the suggestion. It was a scary car. She woke up. You can always also read the question. That's what I'm trying to do here because of YouTube issues of losing the text chat after the video has finished uploading. That's not me doing that. I wish that it was there, and I have settings to save the chat, but that's a YouTube bug. Hey Mikko, do you do animations? Very short GIF animations? Mostly with pixel art. Somebody was earlier trying to educate me how to pronounce GIF, but the inventor of GIF has said that GIFs are pronounced GIFs, not GIFs. So if the guy who has invented the thing says that this is what it should be pronounced, I will take his word for it. I'm glad that somebody's liking the colors because I kind of came up with them on the fly. Now I need to fix whatever is happening here. I'm not trying to flip the canvas to make sure that I keep the composition as a priority. You can get away with anything in a picture as long as you have your composition in check. That's why my concept art course mostly focuses on the composition. All the feedback that I give, it's from my checklist that I teach about composition, main thing. When I was having this talk with the business coach earlier, she suggested that I should do my own course on Udemy or something. And I didn't say no. Might be a good option. With new platforms, there's usually just so much to learn every time. I think the last course that I did, I was teaching digital art. It was on Teachable, and I didn't see any of the platform controls, and there were some problems. Luckily, I wasn't hosting, I was just hired to teach in that course, so it wasn't anything that I had anything to do with, but some of the students, when they were supposed to see my lecture before the homework assignment was given to them, some of them were directed in a link to this Bible studies group on Teachable. So I don't know how that happened with the school system, but it just gives me a hint that Teachable must be a difficult platform to learn if something like that can happen. I don't know if anybody has asked that on the chat, but usually people have, so just in case anybody's asking about the brush that I'm using, it's paw print from my brush set. And that is for the whole painting. Also, there's probably somebody who has asked about the screen protectors that I use. I don't use any screen protectors. And I'm not going to. I think those are probably the hardest decisions that I had to make about this channel, because there is at the same time this like urgent need to monetize in a smart way that is beneficial to both people who watch my videos and follow me, and to keep this channel alive, but at the same time the decisions are really hard. For example, this sponsorship deal that I was offered for screen protectors when I don't use them myself, and I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending people buy something like that and I don't use it, and it might be helpful for some people, but it just wouldn't, I just wasn't comfortable with that. The same thing with some of these tablet reviews that people have, or companies have offered me, because I wouldn't have anything against doing a tablet review, but there's at least 2 companies where the terms of the review seem a bit iffy. Because I, for example, wouldn't feel comfortable sending the review to the company before publishing it on YouTube. That seems a bit weird. I mean, sure, if they like fact check it, that's fine. But I'm just afraid that they would try to make me take out the negative feedback, because like for every review there is like good and bad aspects about tablets. I don't know. Those are like hard to say no to, but then I have to think about like what is my channel like really for, and I just don't think the money would be worth it. Because this isn't also a tech review channel. I wouldn't mind reviewing a tablet, but it would have to be in terms where I get to say what I want to say about it. So I don't think it's a good use of my time to review a product that I already know in advance that I wouldn't like or need. But there are lots of like sponsors that I wouldn't mind having on the channel, of like services that I actually use. Like for example, there are like tons of services that I already use and pay subscriptions for to run this channel. And those are all products that I would probably recommend. I'm sure that there are good and bad aspects about them, but those are, out of all the different products, those are the ones that I ended up choosing and using. I kind of like the brush economy on that tree, so I'm not gonna go in it. We need to get Mikko a new hat. Please. It's just so warm here that I didn't feel like putting on one. Here I'm using the sideways mode of the brush to pick up those like in between colors to find this like right more desaturated hue. I like this part of this tree. With so little it already is what I like looking at, so it's fine. En kyllä osannut odottaa Mikolta yöstriimiä, jännää. Let's not translate it that. Jack, what is that name? Larm? Being from early morning, Australia. Australia is one of those places that I wish I could visit. Hopefully soon. But I've never been there. I've been crazy addicted to this MasterChef Australia for years though. I haven't watched this year's because they changed the judges, and judges were the best part about the whole program. But I've been watching that for years. It's completely brainless, and it has always like 1,000 episodes per season. So it's a huge chunk of my life that is completely missing this year, now that I haven't been watching 8,000 hours of MasterChef. So I've been able to get more work done. We should all be grateful for the dog for being so quiet. Wow, it's 1 at night. Okay. Well. I'm pretty sure after I'm done and I'm ready to go to sleep, it's at that moment the dog will wake up and decide that now it's time to play and go outside and have just a general house tornado moment. Now I added these red dots here because they are splashes of color. End of explanation. Sometimes when you look at the lower parts of these trees, they are much darker than the midsections. The bark, for some reason, I guess it cracks more near the ground. Larm is saying, I'm Finnish Australian. That is unique. I was born Jukka Oskari Rautta, so go figure. By the way, absolutely loving your art and wisdom. Okay, I don't know about wisdom, but thank you. I don't really regret having this channel not in Finnish, because most of you people probably wouldn't be here if this was a Finnish channel. I mean, the part of my subscribers that are Finnish, it's very, very, very small. It's not even in the top 5 of countries. There are more Italian subscribers than there are Finnish ones. Merry Christmas. Oh. Please, God. Why does the playlist insist that I need to get into Christmas mood? The sounds that this dog makes, they're very unique. Sometimes she sounds like, I don't know, a mix between a dog and a cat. There's just this weird singing voice that she has that I haven't heard on dogs before. I've also heard that Shiba breed has its own way of barking that is unique to the breed. But I didn't know that corgis have this unique sound mode too. It was a positive surprise. It's very cute. There's this weird part in the upper corner. What to fix? I'm still gonna keep the window. I don't know if I'm going to need it later, but I'm just gonna keep it for now. In case I wanna add a window, there's one that I can use. It's this part that was bothering me. There was also some like dirty yellows. I strongly believe that all colors should be mixed in their own way when it comes to light, and that yellow was just offensive. My eyeballs. I'm cutting out the contrast here in the upper corner because I don't want the viewer to be kind of like blown out of the entire painting. There's only sky behind, so it doesn't need that much contrast anyway. What breed is she? Is she hyperactive one? Pretty much whenever. No, Siri. Please. Go away. Would you try again? No, I don't want to try again. Go away. Siri is never ever needed. I have never once used that service in a way that it would be in any way beneficial. So Vivi is a Welsh cardigan corgi. I can try and maybe aim this camera. I don't know if this works. No. The lag is so huge. She's Vivi. Somebody was asking her name. I just have to remember that I need to read the questions because later the chat will probably be gone sadly. The important part with this style is just know when to stop when it's still spontaneous. Pretty easy to kill a painting like this, overworking. Alexandra Juel says, oh, hello there, Ville Hunden. Hon är så söt. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. It's strange that whenever I start a stream without having any idea what I'm doing, it just feels like bungee jumping, and it shouldn't. I mean, it's just a painting. I don't know if I want to fix this part. Well, it's your fault for writing the language so Swedish. What's the main language like that Danish comes from? Is it from Swedish? Or is it Norwegian? the original language where Swedish and Danish comes from. I don't know. Somebody's asking, does Vivi do art videos too? Not that I'm aware of. So it's Norse, so is it Norwegian or is it Icelandic? I think Icelandic is very different from Swedish or Norwegian. When I go to Denmark, I can read a menu or in Norway just with my Swedish skills, but in Iceland the language is complete gibberish spoken, and when I read it, that I can't understand it. Finnish is oddly like its own thing. Maybe that's the reason why it's so hard to learn to. Alexandra, you should know. You brought it up. I think Icelandic language sounds really cool somehow. I would never be able to learn. Just the combination of consonants is just somehow completely impossible for my brain to comprehend. Like even reading a word and trying to remember it in Icelandic is difficult for me. The trick to pronouncing anything in Swedish is you have to think that like you're somehow better than everybody else and you have a little bit more money and you just want to convey all of that in the tone of your voice. When you're paying for your groceries, then you can nail the Swedish pronunciation. Estonian is like a cute version of Finnish. I mean, like all the Estonian words are like kind of funny to Finnish ears. Finnish is like the uglier version. My Spanish friend calls Finnish language orcish. I'm not too concerned about these leaves being part of any like brands. I'm just gonna like, have fun with the brush strokes here and put the accent colors into the places where I feel like they need to be. It's not an exact science, but it's a fun science. And then if there are like brush strokes that are distracting, like this hook here, get rid of it. I don't need a reason. Finnish is great for swearing, but not like in a fancy French way. I mean, if you really want to swear, Finnish is the best language to swear in, and the region where I was born, we have the hardest R's, so all the R sounds sound really harsh from my mouth, specifically in Finland. So it's great for swearing. I don't know what these lines are, but I like them, so I'm gonna keep them. We could add some like brushstroke variety to the painting. If I need to like come up with a fancy reason why I want to keep them. Do you plan or sketch the composition before painting, or do you decide while you paint? Well, if there was a plan in the beginning of this live stream, I certainly wasn't aware of it. Let's put it that way. You know that song, Jesus Take the Wheel? That is my exact artistic process. I shouldn't have done that. I want to like have more clean shapes behind this tree still. 246. Well, I'm not like doing like a marathon of painting. It's still almost reasonable. If I dare to say that. Hey, Flinkback. Good morning. It's worrying how I'm not tired at all. I'm sure that I will just completely crash at some point. I always post the image to Twitter after the live stream is done, but this time I will probably like need to sleep before I do the color editing stuff, so it will be a few hours more than usual. Where is the color history thing? This one? Oh, I think I lost it. Mr. Wolf is saying Mikko falls asleep during live stream. That might happen. I love the image of somebody just like browsing through different live streams on YouTube and like checking like, hey, there's a painting, what is happening here? And then like slowly realizing, is this guy drooling over himself in his sleep? What is happening? Maybe that way I could finally go viral for all the wrong reasons. Somebody's asking what features would you like to see in Procreate? Select by color, definitely. We decided that that's enough of this dog bed thing. Most comfortable thing is to try to crawl under this office chair. This is the 170th day that I've been doing this move streak on Apple Watch. Today it was like really, it has been challenging looking after the dog and trying to get the calories done. Because the dog is so young, I'm not supposed to like take it out on walks, so we can like spend time outside and like slightly move around, but only next week and the week after that I can start increasing the distance that she can walk, just so that it's safe for her. How long has Mikko been live? Well, almost 3 hours now. I don't think this is bad for a 3-hour painting. I think it's nice. I would have thought Denmark had some beautiful forests. I'm guessing you just live in a big city area. Yes, I live in the capital. What is the capital again? Copenhagen, right? It's more lovely border sides here. If you go to Jutland, though, you'll find much nicer forests there. I was very young the last time I was in Denmark. I just haven't had a reason to be there. But I remember that the older buildings look really nice. I guess it has changed a lot since then. Do you use a screen film? No. Just get rid of that window for now. That's a simple shape that if I really do need it, I can make it again. Just don't need that extra stuff. It's nicer to paint on just few layers. Feedback is asking, what are your goals for this YouTube channel? To make it work, whatever that means. Yeah, that's my goal for now. I think when I started, I was more like almost ashamed to even like admit to anybody that I even have a YouTube channel. But now it has really changed in a way that like I will either make it work or it won't. When I started this YouTube channel, I didn't really tell anybody, my friends or anyone, that I had done it. But now I'm just not really ashamed of this whole channel anymore. I mean, sure, like the old videos, they are kind of embarrassing, especially the sound stuff is really embarrassing. But I understand just how much work all the sound stuff is, so I can forgive myself, but I know that I expected the sound stuff not to be a big issue when I started. So when people who aren't content creators or people who haven't done any video productions see those videos, like that kind of makes me cringe that like, oh, the sound is really bad and they don't understand how hard it is to get it right. Have a hyvää yötä, Rudibudi. Kiitos. Pistää ryit. I find it so hard to draw and talk to people at the same time. Well, it is really hard. It's really hard. I don't think I'm great at it. But this is practice. Practice makes progress. This is a hard angle to communicate. That's close enough. Somebody's asking me if I'm losing weight. Probably not now, because I broke my calf muscle. Apparently there's a muscle tear or something. I was doing marathon training, so I was running really long distances, like almost 30 kilometers. I think I was in a really good running mode, but this injury has kind of like given me a timeout from exercise, because even walking kind of irritates it, but it will heal and I will start a new program and I will train for next year. This year would have been weird to participate anyway. The marathon already happened, but they let everybody switch years for free because of the situation. I agree with everything people are saying right now. I think it's the chat that is the fun part about this. No, just reading it, and I really hope that YouTube fixes it so that they get saved. I remember when I was, because when they were saved every time before this bug happened on YouTube, I always read the live chat, like all the messages, because when I'm painting, I will inevitably miss few of the comments that happen in the live stream. So I just made sure that I read everything, and of course, like if I need to like wield the ban hammer, then I would know if there are like spammers or something on the channel. But my favorite one was the one that is not my favorite painting, but the black and white one, where everybody's talking about, I think, hair for 1 hour or something. That was just the most entertaining chat to follow, and I remember when I was painting, I was just like completely focused on what people are saying in the chat. And even to me, it felt like secondary that I'm even painting. That was fun. I think I'm gonna keep these sort of like reddish shadows. It's a big decision, but I'm gonna keep it. I think the best thing has been for me when there are moments when I see that people in the chat like honestly help each other out when there is a comment that they know the answer to, or like with technical stuff or something, and I don't have time to read everything. So like when people are just nice, like honestly it's touching. And I probably already told you this, but there was that situation on Twitter when I noticed that one person who was following me gave some really good advice to somebody who was talking about their own art in a negative way, and yeah, probably like the most touching moment that I've had this whole year. There was so much hate in the world. It's exactly the kind of thing that I needed to have faith in humanity again. I don't know, maybe I'm starting to be done. I don't want to... I know you know that I would love to paint clouds, but I don't want to cram detail into that sky that is so close to the top corner of this whole image. In fact, I'm gonna try and see if I benefit from like crunching this thing down. Okay, what was I doing? Oh no. So the lower one is the safety net. Now turn that off. And then this. it's just a few pixels, but I think like this extra room at the top is necessary. The brush strokes are so wild, it just needs that room to breathe. You know, I could get like super fussy about these slicing errors, but I'm not going. It's a digital painting, it's fine. Somebody's saying, put a UFO in. For me, one of the boundaries with these streams is that to keep it fun, I can't let other people drive. And I can't kind of go back and forth. I can't go back and forth on that rule. I need to kind of have a boundary, otherwise I will need to always use mental energy to like think about the situations case by case basis. My English is dying. Therefore, I just have a hard rule: no driving. I can probably announce a live stream better when I know that I have, for example, the house to myself. I don't know how that would happen because I can't imagine that my boyfriend would leave with Vivi for hours during fall out in the rain just so I can live stream. But if he promises to look after her for the duration of the stream, then I can announce the live stream beforehand, the timing of it. And I will probably do that using that stories mode on Instagram. I don't know if anybody uses the stories on YouTube. Seems like the views are really low. That tree is looking like super huge, but then I thought about how drastically I would need to change the composition to make it work, but I don't want to, and I don't want to like bring it to the foreground either. It's just going to be a massive tree. Okay, I think I'm like well over 3 hours now, so I'm gonna quit it here. There's just one more thing that I want to add. For this area. First I'm gonna bend it into shape. And just find a color. Then do a Gaussian blur. That's about it. Let's try some rays to see if it works. I mean, it's already 320. Not feeling it. No, get rid of it. Turn it down. Okay. I'll do the color adjustments tomorrow because it's like dark here and I can't trust my eyes anymore at this hour. So that's painting. Let's check a few more questions. Are you going to release the brush you created in the Moving Forest painting and used in Art is My Real Home challenge? I already released it. It is in the brush pack. Is it just me or is Mikko muted? Sorry, I don't know if I've been super quiet. Lock the boyfriend out. That's terrible. Okay. Did I mute the mic? Oh. It might be that I have accidentally kicked the cord so that the USB came out of its socket. I hope not. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but like, thanks to everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Thank you for staying up late if this is night there too, but here it's 2 a.m. and I'm going to go to sleep. Oh, it looks like Vivi's getting up, which is perfect. Okay. Now I have found the button. Okay, thanks Wolf for clearing that up. Have a good day, night, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.